we are going to be covering sort of the WGA strike and what was happening with Drew Barrymore. Now, this is a little bit, this has sort of been resolved, but I have been asked by quite a few people to comment on this. That's why I made that a Let Me Explain this week. And because, as you guys know, I haven't been reviewing movies, mostly independent stuff, but like I haven't been reviewing anything that's stricken. I have a lot of friends in SAG and the WGA, and this is just more out of respect for them. There is no real stance in the way of, because I'm not contractually obligated, but I'm also not a reviewer who has to take the step back, if that makes sense. I'm choosing to do this. This is for me. I don't, go against anybody else who is personally reviewing right now or doing any of that. So, but this has just been my view. Now, why do I do that? Because they need the support. Right now, the actors and the writers need the support. That's where it's at. What they're asking for is not unfair. And I've stated this on the show before and other shows. It is not unfair with everything going on and trying to get their residuals worked out so they can have a livable wage. If you're showing a movie or a TV show that somebody has worked in, put their blood, sweat, and tears into, has their face a part of it, and that's what's selling for you, you should be paying these people. Absolutely, for being on screen, and you should be paying these people for their words that they've written and given you, for sure. Now, with the Drew Barrymore situation, there's quite a few shows, and I think she got the brunt end of it because she's the biggest star, but like Bill Maher was doing the same thing. All now have decided to not restart their shows. A lot of backlash. I get it. I'm not putting anything down. I love Drew Barrymore. I'm on record. I think she's fantastic. I love watching her in her movies. I love their show. So like this and hearing a lot of the writers speak about her and say like, it's just more disappointing. It's upsetting that she would be willing to make this, call. It is. Absolutely. I understand the pressures. This is a situation where I don't know all the ins and outs personally, but I can tell you from, just working on it from a studio angle, it ain't about, she came back, and this is speculation on my part. She's coming back to do this. Well, she's not anymore, but she was coming back to do this primarily, I think, to support everyone who works on the show, because you guys got to remember, everyone's out of work right now. When you cancel the stuff, not cancel, that's a bad term, but when you are striking and you are working within compliance of the strikes, but also trying to show solidarity and also have the picket lines shutting down productions, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to stop the production so that way they can make their money, and get the scabs out of there. It makes sense. I understand that, and I don't stand against it in any way. I support everything they have to do. Like, Stephen Amell, a couple of months, maybe a month or so ago, came out and talked about how he's against striking. He's not against the strike. He's not against the what they're fighting for. He just doesn't believe in striking. And a lot of people came out after him. I think it's such a sensitive subject right now that anybody who speaks out in a counter-cultural way with any fight that's happening at the moment, you're going to get pounced on. Why does that happen? I think a lot of people misinterpret the pouncing on these situations as an attack, and it's not really an attack. I'm speaking from the union's point of view, not the millions of people who just shine their opinions on anything on social media. So when you have people and you have, a lot of TikToks and things and other social media reels and things like that coming out, and it's celebrities saying like, really disappointed that he would say this. I'm really disappointed she's putting her show back on, or I'm downright upset and this is messed up and blah, blah, blah. And that's not underselling anything that they're saying. You have to do that. You got to stamp out the counter right now, because if you don't, and the beast that they are fighting, the studio system, is a big beast. It's a powerful beast. It's a beast that is split into many studios that hate each other but are still willing to screw over whoever they can to make the buck. I'll always say that because it's always going to be true. Now, I'm not saying every individual that works for a studio is evil. It's not the case. But there are many evil intentions with a lot of things that have been going down, and it's all based on greed, and it's just a terrible time. So if these unions are not stamping out, like, I didn't disagree with what Stephen Amell said. I get it. He didn't put it the best way. Probably used a writer to write it. But he didn't, I don't think he said anything out of line. But you can't have a card-carrying union member out there saying things like this. You can't have a card-carrying union member of SAG, and she is a face of SAG, Drew Barrymore, putting her show back on. I think Bill Maher didn't get enough crap for it because Bill Maher wasn't as big as Drew Barrymore, but I think Bill Maher was going to do it just because he doesn't give a shit. And that's the way he carried himself throughout. Drew Barrymore seemed to have given a shit. I also get how a lot of producers right now who aren't striking, showrunners, producers, things like that, want to get people back on set. They want to get people paid and making money because it's a lot to pay these people out of pocket. It always makes me laugh when you see like a talk show, like all the late night shows are out and then they're trying to pay for their people. At what point do we have to stop saying you should be paying for your people? It's your show. They're entertainers too. They're people who get paid. Do they not deserve the money that they make? Our greed is really what's killing it with all of this. And this is really what's going to be the biggest problem. And if anything good comes out of this, I hope it's indie film gets more of a backing and gets more support in a lot of ways, not from studios, but I'm starting to hope we see some signs of, celebrities and writers stepping up and maybe doing more of them. We did see that after 2008, especially like we saw more writing coming, more original screenplays come out, in indie world. And it was just a great time for it. And we saw more actors doing the indie, sort of doing the indie dance, as I like to call it, like stepping in, a lot of times that's going to be more for, award season. That's what they want, but they do step in, but it does help, and it does help the indie economy. So if anything good comes out of this, I hope it's that, but I also hope that we do get this done fast, because striking is hard, and striking takes money away from the technical side. The below the line really is what hurts the most. These are PAs out of work. These are every aspect of the job. And below the line are all the jobs that aren't director, writer, producer. They're up there, and they have very important jobs, but so does everybody below the line who's taking care of everything, the craft services, the whole 9 yards. When they're not working, they're not working. There's no union backing them or protecting them. And I think that's what we need to keep in mind in a lot of these things. And I hope that they are making their money, because we're starving them out as well. It's a good fight. It's an important fight. It's a fight that should keep getting fought until we can get to an amicable end to it. But we do need to start changing up who we attack and why we attack. And we need to start changing the dialogue. We need to start not just pushing towards the actors need this, the writers need this. We need to be talking about everybody who's affected by this, because everyone is affected by this all the way down the line in the film industry. And, even you at home watching stuff, you're not going to be watching stuff for much longer as we go on. So we need to keep this up. We need to, keep it in the limelight, but start talking about the right things. Let's stop attacking the Drew Barrymores. Let's stop attacking the Stephen Amell's, even the Bill Maher's to a point, even though, like I said, I just don't think he cared. But that's me personally. But we really need to step up, and we need to start seeing what this is all about, because it is going to affect a lot of things going forward, and it's going to make a lot of changes to a lot of things. And you're not really going to see it until after the fact. We were completely blindsided in 2008 as viewers. I worked in the industry. I can get a job at all in most cases. I did a lot of indie work, and I was very proud of that and very happy about it. But just having moved to LA, in 2008, as you're coming in with everything else happening, the economy blowing up and the whole 9 yards, it was tough. I can't even imagine what it's like for everybody right now out there and all over the place. So the Drew Barrymores, it was tone deaf. It was wrong, but I think it came out of a place of love. A lot of people ask what I think about it. I harbor no ill will towards her in this situation. I'm glad she did ultimately make the best decision, because the problem is, it's a studio show. You come back, even if you think you're in compliance with everything, and I'm sure you were, you're still a studio show, and you're the face of that studio show with your name strewn across everything. And you're basically the one telling the writers and the actors who you work with constantly, I don't care about your cause, even if that's not what you mean, but that's what the studio wants everybody to see. So that's where I'm at with the Drew Barrymore thing. I'm glad she's done. Let's stop giving her crap for it. Let's turn their sights towards the real beasts who are out there fighting with each other over screwing everybody over more. That's what it's really about. But thank you guys so much for joining in, whether you're watching this as a clip or you're watching this or listening to it on the Scene Snobs Podcast. This has been another Let Me Micksplain. But we're going to get into our final segment tonight, Mick's Movie Picks.